Okay, I'm going to ask you all to stand up. It's been a pleasure sitting down. And what I'm going to ask you to do when you stand up is to think for a second, what is my wife right about? Repeat that. Oh my God, why is it only the women who can answer that question? Women, can I hear the words again? Guys, did you guys not go to school for training in this order? Now you might think that's a funny answer, but I'm going to prove it to you that she is right about everything. And I don't mean because she's a business person. She is not. She was the dean of students at Harvard Medical and Dental School. So she knows a little bit about this industry. And I was a board member at the John Hancock running a real estate company. And she said to me, in 1993, why don't men get it? And I was not going to answer her sarcastically because I'm a guy. What don't I get? She probably would have said everything. Now here's the question. All of you can stay standing if you can answer that question in the affirmative, remembering what my wife believes. How many of your organizations are profoundly aware of, engage with, know everything about, participate in the lives of your customers? All of you are going to keep standing? Seriously? All of you are going to keep standing? It's good to know you're honest, because the good news of all that is, I just did this for a company called Benefit Focus, which is one of my boards down in South Carolina, which is the largest benefit provider. They all sat down too, which we did not know as a board what they were going to do. They all sat down as well. Now, interesting about the answer is, why is that so profoundly interesting, is if my wife wasn't right, we would all remain standing, right? Because her message was, we at Harvard and Harvard Medical School and all the carriers don't know their customers. This is 1993. They don't care about their patients. They don't care about their doctors. They don't care about anybody. They care about their money and their billing. And it was pissing her off. So if you think then, you can't even answer the next two questions affirmatively. Can you make AI power personalized offers, so like Amazon does to Dan, because you know him every single minute? Do you really provide a platform business solution where you are a broker to your competitors' products and services and make it easy for the consumer to purchase whatever they want? A true maternal organization, as opposed to paternal organization, but true maternalism is, before I answer the question, what are the color of the board members of your company? What color are those people? This isn't that hard a question. What color are the people who run your company? What was that? Old and white. Oh my God, he didn't even just answer the color question, he answered the age question. Shit, we're in trouble here. And I know he's going to answer the last question. Then gender? Oh my God, old, white, and male. He's calling me out here. It's really a problem already, right? I didn't realize I'd become one day that old white guy, right? Which is what I am now, 65, old and white, given the same speech I've given since, believe it or not, 1993. This is 600 of these speeches. Only now do people think this is enjoyable. Back then, my boards were pissed. And so when you think about it, what happened that came to pass? Well, when I grew up in the industrial economy. My grandfather started a car agency after shoveling shit in Manhattan called Chevrolets behind horses. He grew up, and so did I, in the industrial economy. I went to school and started a company called McKinsey & Company, which is a big strategy consulting firm. My brother went to BCG, my son went to Bain. All of us are services providers. But those are yesterday economies. Remember, Maytag Man was created to service a Maytag. And then they have those examples, those commercials from Maytag, which show the Maytag Man doesn't do anything anymore. It's a self-service economy. Look what happened. Google, Microsoft, and Salesforce came in. That was 30 years ago. That's more years ago than my kids are alive. It's not yesterday. That's 30 years ago. Bill Gates is exactly my age. He figured this out when he was 19. I'm not 19 anymore. And then along comes this amazing story, which is Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, and I'll come back to it. But it's not just Mark, and it's not just LinkedIn, and it's not just ICE. ICE is the Intercontinental Exchange, New York Stock Exchange, Visa, MasterCard. There are 50 platform companies in the United States in every industry. Every industry. So my boards ask me, how about my industry? It's every industry. And so when people think, well, hold on a minute here, why is that emerging? It's because the economics of consumerism, this is what we like to buy, produces more profits for companies that operate this way, produces faster growth rates because consumers like to purchase this way, and produces, a lot better share prices because all of us invest in companies that do business this way. This is where we all put our time, our money, and our savings, and our efforts. This is where we consume, spend, and live our lives. So it's not just a theory from Dan's perspective. These are the numbers. So here's the big problem for this industry. There are 11 primary industries. There is called the S&P 500. That's the 500 biggest companies. But the S&P 5 are destroying one industry after another, every industry in its path. Every industry. We are going to go from the S&P 500 to the S&P 5. And that is just our reality. And it's not because they're doing it, it's because we're, as consumers, are living there, on it, in it, part of it. My wife is right. So there are 3 new rules for success. The old rules, anybody know the video, Simon Sinek, Start With Why? Great. Anybody who does not know it, watch it on TED Talk. It's a TED Talk called Simon Sinek, Start With Why. What he says is companies never start with why. They start with what and how. What am I going to sell? How am I going to sell? What am I going to sell? How am I going to sell? Just guys, what am I going to do? How am I going to sell? What am I going to do? How am I going to sell? Only the great leaders start with why. Why am I even in life? Why am I here? Why am I presenting to you? Why? And the why is what most leaders never do. It's not a compelling vision of the future. There's no why. Well, I think only a man, he's far more famous than I am, only a man would tell a story that way. Only a guy. And let me show you why. The why from my wife, so you know her name is Ellen, is not the same as the why from my 2 sons, Michael and Adam. When she calls me, if I remember who she is, and I hope sure as I do, happy wife, happy life, that I will remember when I spoke to her this morning and spoke to her last night when I didn't have a hotel, and she had to help me find a hotel room here in town, that I know that I got to remember to love her. And I have to love her in a different way than I love my 2 boys. One's a venture capitalist, one is on the space mission for Elon Musk. Those guys have different needs than my wife needs. So you start with who. And not a single company I have understand my wife's original message. If you don't know the who, then you don't know the why that matters to them. It's impossible. And then you need to think about where does that person, that who, want their why met. And then you got to think about when it matters to them. And my wife would say, and in the tone that you use to communicate with them. And she would say, how you say something, Barry, is more important than what you say. She's right. So what happens? John Harvard. Some simple storytelling here. John Harvard was the founder of Harvard University. Remember, she was the dean of student. My wife was at Harvard, at medical school, dental school. In 2004-5, anybody see the movie The Social Network? Sure, some of you did. Great. That's a true story. My son was the president of the Phoenix, that crazy-looking men's club that Mark Zuckerberg tried to join. He's my son's classmate. He says, Dad, all these stories you've been telling since '93, you can't believe it. Lawrence Summers, the president of Harvard, thinks Mark Zuckerberg is okay. walking away with all the customers. They don't care at Harvard. I can't believe it. They're going to walk out the door with everybody. And then they're going to take everybody else's customers. You got to meet this guy, which I did. And along with the guy who founded him for $16,000 and made $3.5 billion. I did. And here, this company's been around for 365 years, and it's worth about $42 billion. Mark is worth $50 billion alone, and he did it in less than 15 years. Because not just Mark and Lawrence Summers, but every company in the world turned over their customers to him for free and then rented them back. They were so busy focused on the what and how and what and how and what and how and product service that they forgot, oh my God, there's a who, where's Ellen? These companies are obsessed with us. I mean, fundamentally obsessed. They can't leave us alone. Apple talks to us 1,800 times a day. They know where we are every minute. They take our fingerprints. They know our heart rates. They know where we are, where we travel. They know everything. Amazon knows what we buy, what we don't buy, who we tell people to buy. You kidding me? Google knows where we spend every minute on the road, where we're going, where we're traveling to. They're obsessed with us. The rest of my companies are obsessed with product, service, product, service, product, service, product, service. These people own between 1 and 2.5 billion customers each. In 1967, Marsh McLuhan wrote a book called The Medium is the Message. It's not a student of my wife's, but she could have been. But he was saying how you say something and where you say something is more important than what you say. And he was talking about the television. This is before the internet. And he was saying that the medium, where you communicate with the person, is more important than what you tell them or what you say to them or how you say it to them or what you sell them. That's 1967. And that's what happened. There are 600 platform companies in the world today that cover the entire universe of every single type of company and industry possible. They're gobbling up one industry after another, taking the thesis that who followed by where matters. And then in the convenience economy, if we have any free moment, which I don't think any of you have any free time you want to give away to me? Anybody got any free time? Well, we spend 8 hours a day online. That's before we all go home. Who watches Amazon Prime TV shows? Netflix? Anybody watch any of those TV shows today? Okay, cool. Between watching TV at home and watching online the rest of the day, we have no time left to do anything. They're consuming us. So if you want what happens to Neiman Marcus, one of my boards, you can imagine what happened to their business model. Wrong medium, wrong message. Because interacting with your consumers once a year, once a month, maybe, is like holiday season. It's sort of interesting. Wait for Christmas. Talk to my wife once a year and tell her I love her. But when Amazon shows up every single door, my door like it does Dan, day in and day out, I'm beginning to wonder who's more in love with my wife and who my wife loves more. It's just like Dan, Amazon, or Barry.
Amazon.
There's your answer. I was telling the story to my Neiman Marcus board. They're really upset with me because when they recruited me, they said, Barry, can you really tell us the truth of where we're going? I said, you don't want to hear it from me because as Crow knows, I'm not a really tactful person. I'm really quite direct about this stuff. I said, have you ever seen my wife's closet? They go, how would we see inside your wife's closet? She's like a perfect customer, I said to you guys, Neiman Marcus. My wife is the perfect target customer for you guys. Perfect. Has she buy at Neiman Marcus? Never. Well, let me just tell you what my wife's closet. Any women want to tell what's in my wife's closet? Because most women know what's in my wife's closet. Anybody want to guess? Shoes, what else? Not so much purses, anything else? Well, I'll tell you, Lululemon. Now, not just one pair of Lululemon, although she would tell me they're different. 50 different pairs of black something. I'm not sure exactly what black things they are, but they're all black, and she's trying to convince me they're different black, right? And they're different black, and some of them have black design and some have black see-through. I'm just not quite sure, but they're different, she tells me. I said, we should set up a store like Airbnb, but for Lululemon rental platform, something like that. Because if you only wear, it's like our Airbnb, we only use our cars 4% of the year, and Uber rents the balance of them, so it's 96% available. You only wear those pants 4% of the year. That means we can rent the balance of your Lululemon 96% of the year. You never have to go back to work. It's fantastic. So what is the disruption for your industry? It's already happened. There's no turning back. You've already been disrupted. The economics have already left the industry. You're fighting for ever-increasing smaller margins, working ever harder hours, serving an ever population that's increasingly distressed.